have no seat. Somebody take my water.
You ready for questions?
No. Okay. Just came to
Let me ask
stand
you
here.
one anyway. You seem to be pointing out the need for bipartisanship in Albany. I'm wondering who you're directing that comment to and what's prompted that comment.
The news media, by and large. No, I'm. Are you saying who am I directing you to?
Obviously,
between the
directing
Democrats and
parties,
Republicans.
but are you seeing a development here in Albany that we should know about?
No, it's a point I make in general, especially when I have young people in the room. It's a point I've been making for a long time. I started in my campaign that we have to focus less on the politics and more on the people. And the point I make is all too often you see Democrats voting with Democrats, you see Republicans voting with Republicans, rather than on the merits of the issue. And let's tone down the politics and let's ratchet up the concern for people and for the state. And I think that would be a more productive dialogue. I think right now we're having good conversations in Albany. On both sides of the aisle. I've been working very hard to be cooperative with the Assembly and with the Senate. I believe in collegiality. I believe in cooperation. However, at the end of the day, I was elected by the people of the state, and I work for the people of the state, and I ran for office on a very specific program, and I said I was going to balance the budget, and I was going to close the deficit, and I was going to do it without raising taxes. And I'm going to do what I said I was going to do. That is very important to me. I'm going to honor the commitment that I made to the people of this state when they voted for me. And I'm going to get this state's fiscal house in order, and I'm going to clean up Albany. That was my promise, Bill, and that's what I'm going to do, and it's going to start with this budget.
Governor, your message has been pretty stern and clear the last couple of days to the legislature about the budget being on time. How much of that do you think is really getting through? I know you said you're having good conversations, but how much of that is getting through? And it sounds like the last couple of days you've been as stern as you've been through this whole budget process.
You know, we're coming down to the end of it, and I've been working for months, and I've been, as I said, collegial. I believe in that in the first place. My grandfather, God rest his soul, used to say you get more flies with honey than with vinegar, right? So we're working very well, and we're having good conversations. But at the end of the day, I'm responsible for getting this budget done in a way that works for the people, right? The buck stops on my desk. And I was very specific when I ran for governor about what I was going to do if I was honored with election. And the people of the state did honor me. And I said I was going to balance the budget, and I was going to get the state's finances in order. I was going to do it without raising taxes. I was going to stop the unsustainable increases. And that's what I'm going to do, and I'm committed to doing it.
Governor, there's a lot of school districts in limbo right now waiting for state aid. Some are talking about laying off teachers. How important is it, A, to get the budget done in time for them, and B, the cuts that they're facing? You mentioned a little bit about it, but them living without or with less state aid.
Well, first, we'll have some school districts are reacting to the budget proposal. We'll have a final budget, hopefully, in the next couple of weeks. So a school district will actually have a target and know what the budget is going to be, right? They're all now reacting to proposals. You have the Assembly has a proposal, the Senate has a proposal, and I have a proposal. When we enact the budget, all school districts will at least know what the number is, and they'll know what the budget is. And that finality will be a good thing in and of itself. Second, school districts will say they need more money. Hospitals are saying they need more money. People in my government are saying they need more money. My government, the state government, actually in my budget takes the largest cut of all. I cut the state agencies about 10%. On average, a school district statewide, the average is about 3%. So I understand that I'm asking government to tighten its belt. I understand that I'm asking government to find efficiencies and to find savings and to cut the waste. I understand that. And that's what I'm asking them. I'm saying to government, look, you had record increases for many, many years. And people can't afford it anymore. They just can't. And my choice is very simple. Either I reduce the money to governments and I ask them to find savings, or I raise taxes. And I'm not going to raise taxes because the people in the state can't afford it.
Governor, you've asked for a lot of sacrifice and change from a lot of people in this budget. What sacrifice and change have you asked from wealthy New Yorkers?
Well, this budget affects everyone all across the state. I don't believe, if you look at the way we've allocated it, about a 2% reduction to health care, about a 3% reduction in education, 2.7% actually to school districts statewide on average, 10% cut to the state government. And that affects all New Yorkers everywhere. So again, if anything, if you want to lead by example, my agencies, my office has taken the disproportionate burden. The state government cuts will be 5 times the cuts that we're asking most of the other subdivisions to take. So I'm very comfortable that we are actually leading by example, and we're going to be doing more than most. And look, life is options, right? Either we have to reduce the amount of money we spend as a government, or we have to raise taxes. If we raise taxes, not only are we in a position where people can't afford to pay more taxes, people will leave, and businesses will leave. Businesses are not cemented into this state. Especially today, they're more mobile than ever before. A business can close its laptop, get on a plane, and be gone. And we're seeing that over and over. You hear this story in Syracuse all day long. You hear it all across upstate all day long. We've lost 2 million people. Businesses are leaving. People are leaving. We have to get the taxes under control, and now is the time to do it, because this is a critical juncture for the state.
Governor, this is the last of your meetings with the public to discuss this budget proposal. You're down to a week before the budget. Have you seen any concrete signs that all of these sessions across the state by yourself and Lieutenant Governor have made a difference in getting the public involved?
I think I convinced you, Bill. And that was a tough audience. Yeah, right. This budget is different in a lot of ways. This budget is different in the prescription for the state by reducing expenses rather than just increasing taxes, which is what the state has done year after year. We also are trying to get it accomplished in a different way. I've gone all over the state talking to the people. You know when Albany will change? Albany will change when the people demand change. The politicians in Albany understand this message. They've heard my message. I'm trying to organize and mobilize the people.
Are they demanding?
Oh, every group I've talked to about this budget bill says this is exactly the direction to go. By the way, I got this budget, the thoughts, the ideas that are implemented in this budget, I got from the people. During my campaign, I was all over the state, as you know. This reflects what the people of the state told me time after time after time. I call it the people's budget because the ideas, they're not mine. I'm just the messenger for the people of the state of New York.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much.